Thank you for explaining that.
For sure.
And go ahead.
Sorry, 𝗖𝗑, just want to follow up on a question before I lose track of my thought. But you know, as you mentioned, Red Knight Properties, you're a vertically integrated company, so you have a property management division within the company as well, and that's key. So in my research initially, when for CPI, when we were cultivating a relationship with investors, we were also looking at institutional investors like family offices. And what we realized early on was that when institutional investors are looking to invest with a sponsor, with a real estate sponsor for value-add project, when they're looking to invest with them, one of the items to look for is for that company to be vertically integrated and have a property management in-house. So it's incredible what you've done. But talk to us about that experience, because it's hard enough and complex enough to manage a real estate investing firm, but now to also have a property management firm. And then how do you manage it within multiple states? Do you have a certain manager that looks after certain employees that come on board? Do you use subcontractors? Talk to us about more, how is that dynamic?
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because a lot of real estate sponsors that I encounter as well, where they're located, they'll have their property management team, but if they invest out of state, they won't property manage. And there's no really right or wrong answer to your question. It's really dependent upon what is the, I guess, motivation behind it from the sponsor's end. And my motivation is to have, more control over our asset, and to be able to handle things that come up in-house and not rely on a third party, even if they have a great reputation. And it also comes from, a learning experience that I think every real estate sponsor should have, because the more involved you are with property management, and obviously if you're running a real estate company, you can't be involved with everything. You're just not going to have the time. But for when you can have the time, and, for the ability to learn from people you hire, whether they're on the ground or virtual, is invaluable, because it's only going to help you grow your business even further, as you're going to need to know what to look for. If you hired a manager and let's say they're not working out, now you need to know what you need to look for in a new manager. So there's many benefits to doing it in-house. Yes, it is a pain in the ass to manage, and I'd say it's harder than even the investor relations, even the capital raising, sometimes even finding deals. It's a very challenging part of the business, and that's why a lot of operators don't do it. So for us, it's challenging. It does take time, but to answer the latter part of your question, in terms of the systems and teams we have, we're in 4 different states right now, and we have basically a maintenance technician in each state, and each property we have is geographically located within maybe 20-30 minutes of each other. So we'll have, let's say, 4 maintenance technicians, and then we do a hybrid approach. I don't have any leasing people on my staff, but we do outsource the leasing to a third-party brokerage like a RE/MAX or eXp Realty. So they help us with the leasing of portfolio, and then I have a maintenance person on my staff who's responsible for, basically, sometimes they're responsible for renovations, but we have contractors for that. Obviously repairs that come up that should be handled in-house, toilets and other things that are minor that come up. So they're in each state at each location, and I have a senior property manager on my staff, and I have a bookkeeper on my staff, and we outsource some tax return work and a couple of other things. So I wouldn't say we're fully integrated, but we're pretty close. And it just comes with scale, because it's tough to, manage smaller amounts of units and think to yourself, oh, is this really worth my time? Is this taking up so much time? Well, on the management side, let me just outsource it so I can buy more deals and grow. That's a great mentality to have. For me, it was more of, let's really execute on our business plan for ourselves and our investors. Let's really have full control. Let's learn a lot from it, because maybe at some point, as I'm saying this now, property management, it is a pain in the ass. We might want to get rid of that division or sell it off to another, whether it's a smaller private equity company or, real estate company. We might want, there's options into having your own property management company. It does come with the headaches for sure. But even if you hire a third-party manager, you're still going to be managing the manager. So, you kind of are removing a layer, but at the same time, you're not. I've had experience with both. So there's not one right answer for the question, but I do think it's been beneficial to us, and I don't think we would be able to hit the same returns we would have hit without having it in-house.
Of course, because you're hands-on. It's your team looking at the property. Anything that happens there, they're relaying that information to you. So that's truly great.
Yeah.